I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit. Hey, what is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus 3 TCG coming at y'all with a deck profile. Today we are going to be taking a peek at Salamangreats and how they function with just one gazelle and one circle. This is not any new information. We've known this for a bit since the ban list has dropped, and it's more or less just been trying to figure out how does this deck function without gazelle or without 3 gazelle and 3 circle. And it functions still pretty fine. I mean, you still play a lot of hand traps, a lot of defensive cards to make up for the lack of, I guess, good engine cards, because you got a lot of like good engine cards like Gazelle and Foxy, but everything else is kind of an extender. Even Spinny isn't the greatest. It's just now that we don't play as many Salamangreats like Gazelle and Circle. I know Circle's a spell, but it's essentially another Salamangreat monster. I think you have to play. You have to maximize like cards like Spinny and things like that, whereas before you could just get away with playing 2. Anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent here. I just want to talk about the deck, and into it we go. 1 Gazelle, obviously. 3 Foxy. Just if you weren't playing 3 before, you definitely have to play 3 now because it's just another starter. And I would argue that there are more times now that you are going to be activating its effect on the normal summon to dig for your defensive cards, or not defensive cards, to dig for your extenders. But Spinny, I do think you should be playing 3 of this because of Buffalo and because of Signet Mining. Because if you Signet Mining and have Spinny, it's still the same thing. You still want to be able to trigger Gazelle and not have to normal summon. It's just a really good card that can situationally help you bait out stuff. Playing 1 Jag, 1 Foul, and 1 Falco. Never seen anyone playing more than 2 Falco, but I have seen people playing more than 1 Falco, but I have seen people playing 2 of these. I've seen people even play 3 Foul. I'm still not sure which one is more important. They both play good roles. I think Foul might be a little bit more important because it serves multiple roles. It outs back row, essentially outs back row, and then it is also an extender to make Abyss Dweller and summon or Sunlight Wolf. This recycles your stuff, yeah, that's no secret. It's just this might have a better, more role. Maybe you think you should be playing multiples, but I think just 1 of each is pretty alright. 3 Buff, still an amazing card. You especially need this. I know there were some builds that you could, or some builds before that weren't playing Buffalo at all, because really it's just like the battle of which one was better, Debug or Buffalo. I would argue Debug might be better because Buffalo is unplayable if you don't have a Cybers, and even sometimes Buffalo doesn't get you into the cards you need. It just draws you more defensive cards, and sometimes you need extenders because this deck lacks extenders and engine cards, or good engine cards. Like, these are great, but these don't get you into like these aren't going to help you get into Mirage Stallion and to extend like you could with 3 Gazelle. That's not we're not talking about those. We're talking about Debug. So you have to or Buffalo. 3 Buffalo, obviously. You got to play these now if you weren't playing them before. You still have to play Debug because we don't have as many Salamangreat cards like Circle and Gazelle. So without those, we need to be able to search it. It still kind of puts you at a weird position when you open both of these, and you open well enough that these conflict. So keep that in mind, but Debug is necessary. And then 1 Inclusion, because it's 1 an extender and 2 a defensive card, and 3 it's level 3. Same old. No cards have really changed. It's just some of the ratios have changed. Playing a lot of hand traps though. 3 Ash, 3 Ogre. I think Ogre is great this format. There's just so many explanations for why certain hand traps are great. Some people think Ash is terrible. Some people think Ogre is terrible. But I think Ogre is pretty good this format, especially with Guard Dragons, getting a new deck, essentially, with Rockets, and LP is still a problem, so hitting LP on its activation with Ogre is usually pretty good, because then they can't get out that really powerful extender from their deck, whether that be Brotar or Red MD, hits multi-roll, just all around great card. Everyone knew the multi-roll thing, but I think this card has high impact. You can also hit like Spatha on like Crusadia and stuff like that. This just has a lot of utility, and I think these are the cards that you want to see most out of your hand traps outside of Phantasma and Imperm. But unfortunately, your boy is not playing those because I don't own them. So I'm playing 2 Bell, 2 Crow, and 2 Veiler. So this shouldn't be too much of a surprise because this is just generically an amazing card, and it's mismatch rarity, so you're guaranteed you're going to see one. These, however, are budget options. You could arguably just like cut. You could just split this in half and go like 3 Phantasma, 3 Imperm. But I like the utility here. But I probably would be playing, I would be playing Phantasmas and Imperms if I own them. But I don't own them at the moment. Anyways, this shouldn't be much of an explanation. These might, you should see where the application is. This card hits every deck in the format. This card also hits every deck in the format. You're hitting cards with Orcust. You're hit like their Skeleton. You're hitting Ray with DD Crow. You're also hitting Ray with DD Crow or with Ghost Bell. There are Salamangreat cards are hitting like Spinny or Gazelle if they try to add it back, but whatever their extender is to try to summon under Sunlight Wolf, there's just a lot of utility in these cards. I just think Phantasma and Imperm are a bit better because Phantasma fixes your hand, whereas none of these cards fix your hand. Playing 3 Mining because this card is great. I wasn't playing 3 before because you didn't need to, and this is only once per turn, but now that we don't have as many Cyberse monsters in the form of Gazelle and Circle, so we only have one of those because it's essentially a Cyberse monster, any of them in any Salamangreat in your deck. We have to play 3 of these because we need to see one of these cards in our hand so that we can get to our Gazelle. Same thing with Circle, but only 1. So essentially we're playing 3 Mining. Or 3 Circle, however you want to look at it. 1 Sanctuary and 1 Will, and those are the spells. I'm no longer playing Fusion of Fire. I just don't think. Well, first of all, I should have listened to the people who were telling me that you didn't need it to win. Yes, it is a great Sacky card, but it is just that kind of a Sacky card that you don't necessarily need to win, and it is usually a brick. And I would often pitch it with Foxy to summon itself, and. So yeah, I'm not playing that spell anymore. I'm also not playing Call by the Grave because you can just play 3 hand traps. Even with one Gazelle. 2 Roar, 2 Rage, because your defensive cards have always been lacking, so why not play 2 of each searchable one? And the fact that this gets banished a lot because if you like open Rage or something, then you can just really if you just send Roar and you have other plays that you can make, you can just summon your second wolf and with another wolf and just set the Roar. But then it gets banished, so I think it is very important to play 2 of these. At least 2 of these. You can probably get away with 1 of these, but I think this is great against decks like Orcust, where if you break their board before they can, or if you interrupt their board before they can go into their Orcust plays and they don't really have any plays. Unless they open additional extenders, where that's just an issue. 3 Solemn Judgment, because this is how you are stopping cards like Red Reboot, so you don't get OTK'd. Cards like Twins, so your stuff doesn't get destroyed. All around, great card. Not sure why it's back at 3, but OCG's had it for a bit, so I guess it's alright, yeah. 3 Balinks, 3 Wolf, 2 Helio. Nothing really is extensively different about the extra deck. Hita, Phoenix, all these are just standard. Great utility cards. Don't really need to explain them much. The only difference would be, I guess, Appaloosa. You can end with this and still have your Salamangreat traps and a Salamangreat monster. You just kind of have to open well. And it's all around just a great card to negate monsters. No shit, right? 2 Stalio, 1 Dweller, and 1 Baguska. This is probably the only other change that is somewhat different from the standard build, because at one point in time this was standard and then it got replaced with Tornado Dragon. But I think this is good again because this stops combo for the most part, unless they open Imperm, then, or if they open like a way to run over it and they can combo it in main phase 2. But they have to open pretty well for that, and I think Bakuska is a good thing to end on against combo, because they don't have the extenders to play out of it. Then you should potentially be winning by next turn, or you should have enough advantage that you will win on not that following turn after Bakuska, but the next following turn. It just nets you some time, if you will. But that is the profile, y'all. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Let me know if you think there are any cards that I should be playing. I know there are a couple tech choices that I've seen played, like Backup Secretary. Someone was talking about Sea Archiver, but I don't necessarily think that is the greatest. But if you can maybe let me know, talk to me about it down in the comment section below, y'all. I would love to hear it. And I will catch y'all later. This is Alex from +3 TCG, signing out, y'all.